This video will contain spoilers. So, where's the middle and end review for AC Shadows? Um, I don't know. What's going on with AC is that I did the beginning review not long before I finished Act 1. The game doesn't make it clear about the acts, it's just that there's trophies for it. So Act 1 is up until you unlock Yasuke. Act 2 is when you kill all of the Shinbakafu, bar like 2 of them. Act 3 is when you kill those 2. You do all of the missions for Yasuke, um, which I'll explain in more detail about that later. Uh, then you do all of it for Junjiro, and then all of it for Naue. And then you unlock a final quest, and all that really is just talking to people. And then that's it. Game's over. Um, so the middle and end reviews will be one video. Um, because the game doesn't really have a middle. Um, as for the reason why I've moved on instead of actually beating the game first is because the way that I did it is the same way that I played Odyssey, where because I didn't want to miss out on anything, there's a YouTube channel called Assassin's Creed series that I follow, and what I do is I was playing the game on regular mode up. I didn't have canon mode on, but I still used his videos to make sure I was making the canon choices. Just so that I'm not locked out of anything that I shouldn't be locked out of. And I was also playing the missions in the order that he was playing them in, so it was like prologue, and then let me pull this up. I know this is probably something I should save for the middle and end reviews, but it's just I'm better off explaining this now. So you have the prologue, then um, right, you did everything up to the end of Act 1, and then you did the full, this is the order, the full, the Naginata, I don't know how to pronounce that, the Mourner, the Noble, the Ox, the Fox, the Wise, the Two-Faced, and the Horseman, and then you go back and you do everything from Yasuke's journey, then everything from Yasuke's past, then everything from Yasuke's epilogue, then you do all the Jinjuro missions, which those I don't like them just because of the fact that you need to wait for the season to end in order to do them. And the whole season shit, when there's nothing for you to do, like you just can't change the season. And then you have the all of Naue story and then the epilogue. AC series stopped after that. Like he's been constantly uploading since, but most of it is basically just redoing the missions, but doing the non-canon choices. So I put a comment up on the epilogue asking if he's going to go back and do the rest because there's a bunch he hasn't done. Most of it is, I didn't realize this until I put up the comment, but basically all of it can be split up into two different types of mission. You have people that you need to assassinate, kind of like the Shinbakafu, but not as complicated because it's just a side mission. There's a bunch of different wee mini groups that have people that you need to assassinate where it's not a bunch of missions just to kill one guy. All it is just you track the mission and then it'll say this guy is here and then you kill him. That's it. And then the other one is the people that you meet in each individual region. They every time you go to a region and you meet someone, it unlocks a new part of the objective board, a new circle. So like people of Omi, for example. And if you meet, say, 3 people there, 3 people will appear in that circle, and they'll all have individual missions to do. There's a bunch of those he hasn't done either, so I put up a comment saying, "Are you going to do those, or is that you done?" He has yet to respond. So I moved on. So, beginning a review, Yakuza 0. My fears were true. What happened was when I noticed in Ishin that there's different styles. It made me think of Yakuza 1, where it had different styles, and it fucking sucked. That was a good chunk of the reason why the combat in that game is so hard. And I had a feeling that because Kiwami came out the same year as Zero, I had a feeling that that's what it was. They were just modernizing the game. I've never played the PS2 version. I have a feeling that the PS2 version is the same as 2, 3, 4, and 5, where there's no styles, it's just fucking fighting. And yeah, I was right. Zero has styles, and it is shit. So far, all there is the brawler style and I think it's called the rush style. It's the pink one. I'm sticking the brawler because it's the best, but it's just quick stepping isn't all that good, and blocking isn't all that good. Also, it plays stupidly. Like, it plays like an older game than 5. Hell, it plays like an older game than actually 4 and 3 is. That's going far, but you know, 5 came out in 2012. 0 came out in 2015, but 0 plays like it's an older game. And it's stupid. There's no XP. Instead, you get money from defeating people, and also the money is like it's inflated. Like 10,000 yen in all the other games is the equivalent of 100,000 yen in this game, which is a bit weird, especially since this is a prequel. So, if anything, unless they went through some sort of hyperinflation in the 80s that I don't know of, it doesn't make sense. If anything, it should be the other way around. But you spend your money on skills, and it's very weird. And then they have like the shrine stuff that they had in Ishin, where it's not the same. It's more like the completion list from the first game, but instead of phoning and getting your upgrades, there's a shrine. Also, the currency that you use at the shrines is called completion points, but they initialize it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna elaborate on that. Figure it out yourself. I think the last thing I have to say is the cutscenes. It's a bit weird because the way that every other game has worked is that you have your regular cutscenes, and then there are cutscenes where it's the in-game models basically. I don't know how programming games works, but I assume that cutscenes have a different model to compared to the game itself, even if it's the same character. Even if that's not how it works, I'm just going to keep on using this metaphor because it's the best way I can explain it. So you have regular old cutscenes, then you have the sort of cutscenes that use the game models where it's not cinematic, it's just over the shoulder shots, but it's voice acted. And then there's just the shit that's it's in game, it's not voice acted. This game has all that as well, but it adds something new. There will be cutscenes where that they do something to the color. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's different. And then people will talk, but their mouths don't move, and it looks weird. And it reminds me of Max Payne 3 for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just this is a game from 2015, and like the games from like 2005 and shit didn't do that. It's so weird. I think that's everything. So I'm just going to move on. Also, sorry, one last thing. There's a lot of people in this that I don't know if they were in some of the other games, but they look familiar. Like that guy, Kuze, who cuts his finger off at the end of chapter 1. He reminds me of the loan shark guy from 5, but obviously it's a different person. And then Dojima reminds me of someone else, I just can't think of who. The florist, that's who he reminds me of. And the guy at the very end of chapter 1 that like is holding the umbrella, he has the same haircut as Daigo. I was like, is this intentional or not? Anyway, Thunderbolts. Universally negative ratings. I watched it in cinema with Dylan Ginger and Dylan's cousin. Florence Pugh, Lewis Pullman, Geraldine Viswanathan, Wyatt Russell, Olga Kurylenko, David Harbour, Sebastian Stan. Harrison Ford does not appear in the film. As far as I know, Zemo does not appear in the film. Io Edebri was supposed to play Mel, who is Geraldine's character, so she doesn't appear in the film. Hannah John Cannon, Rachel Weisz does not appear in the film. Wendell Pierce does not appear in the film. Lawrence Fishburne does not appear in the film. Juliette Louis-Dreyfus. The reaction to this is stupid. Like, it's happened before, but it hasn't happened this much where people are saying, oh, the MCU is back. Or, it surprised me how good this was. And, it's the usual thing of acting like there hasn't been a good film since Endgame. But if we look at every single MCU film released post-Corona, most of the time it is a pattern of bad, good, bad, good, bad, good. Like, let me go through this. So, Black Widow, bad. Then, Shang-Chi, good. Eternals, bad. Spider-Man, good. Now, this is the popular opinion. This isn't my opinion that I'm going off of. Doctor Strange, bad. Thor Love and Thunder, bad. And yes, that's 2 bads in a row. I'll give you that. And then there was also Ant-Man, so that's 3 bads in a row. Like, it wasn't, or no. Sorry, it's not 3 bads in a row. I forgot. So, let me do that again. Black Widow, bad. Shang-Chi, good. Eternals, bad. Spider-Man, good. Doctor Strange, bad. Love and Thunder, bad. Black Panther, I think the ratings of the film are positive. I'm not too sure. No one really talks about Black Panther. And so I can't really, I don't know. So we're just going to have to put that as neutral. Ant-Man, bad. Guardians, good. The Marvels, bad. Deadpool, good. Captain America, bad. Thunderbolts, good. Bar Love and Thunder and possibly Black Panther, it has been a pattern of bad, good, bad, good. So it's not a fucking surprise. And that's not like everything is going to be like that. It doesn't mean that, Fantastic Four is automatically going to be bad. It's just stop acting like the new film is the only good film since Endgame. Um, I got the fact that Taskmaster dies in the film. I got that spoiled for me. Um, so I'm just trying to think of things to say. When I heard that Iowede Bree got cast in the film, and then she dropped out and Geraldine was put in, I thought, right, I can't wait to see this, just to see what their character was going to be, but it turns out it wasn't a superhero or anything like that. It was just Valerie's assistant. And don't get me wrong, it's great seeing Geraldine in the MCU, but it's just I got my hopes up. Also, speaking of recasting, whenever Stephen Yeun dropped out and Lewis Pullman got cast, I didn't know who Lewis Pullman was. And I was saying who Stephen was. And I thought, obviously I'd rather have the person I know than the person I don't know. But it turns out I know Lewis Pullman because he was in Salem's Lot. And I'm glad that he did it rather than Stephen Yeun because Lewis Pullman was so good in the film. He had a really good performance. This film sort of nailed the comedy down. Like, it is really good. Red Guardian is really funny, especially. But there's also John is quite funny. Um, like he just bullies Bob at the start, and then there was that scene where they're confronting Valerie, and she talks shit about John, and John pulls his gun, and Bucky's like, "John, stop." That was all great. um, I can't think of much to say. I was I didn't understand the whole asterisk thing. Um, because the film was originally didn't have that in the title, but then they added it, and I did hear something about it being a title change within the film. Like, it's gonna be they're just the Thunderbolts for now. It's just a placeholder name before they find an official name. But I also heard something about it being like a copyright thing or something like that, and that they actually can't use Thunderbolts, but they can use it as a placeholder. Um, just one thing I wasn't expecting was it to be the fucking new Avengers. I am so glad we got that. Like, the whole thing with the Young Avengers, that's gone nowhere so far. I'm not the kind of person to complain about how slow the MCU is being, but you know, all we've had is that end bit of the Marvels where Kamala meets Kate Bishop, and that's it so far. So the fact that we had a new Avengers film and we didn't even fucking know it, that was absolute genius, and it's great. And then they actually see them being the new Avengers, even though it was only for 2 minutes. You can see the fucking struggles and all that, and the Fantastic Four setup, which I did have that spoiled because Dylan had seen the film before. He'd seen it the day it came out, and then we seen it on Sunday. I'm recording this on Tuesday, by the way. Um, he said to us that apparently the credits, spoils the post credit, because the credits, they give credit to the Fantastic Four theme for that post credit, even though the credits appear before the post credit. So I did have that spoiled for me, but it was still really well done. Also, this film kind of did the same thing that the Marvels did, where it redeemed something that happened in the past. Like in the case of the Marvels, they shown that Carol regrets the genocide that she committed in the first film, and it's not an in-universe thing, but John in this film kind of helped, like it, him being in the film and the film being so good and all that prompted people to post scenes from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it shows how great of a character he is, even in that. Falcon and Winter Soldier is a product of its time. You know, it was less than a year after George Floyd. Corona is still a thing, and the show is quite woke. You know, you had the whole thing of that guy, the black Captain America. I don't mean Sam. I mean the other one. You had Sam saying, "Oh, we can't call the terrorists because something." Um, just things like that. And because of all that, I didn't fully appreciate the whole thing of John. Um, don't get me wrong. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is it's an okay show. It's like a 7 out of 10. Period. Like full stop. It would be the worst show in the MCU if it weren't for She-Hulk. Um, but like, I just I didn't get to fully appreciate it because of all the woke stuff in it. Um, so I'm glad that this film helped me understand, even if it was unintentional. Even though something's been on for this video's been on for 22 minutes, I feel like I haven't said anything. I apologize for that. As far as I know, no more cinema reviews this week because there's just nothing out. And I feel like it was coming out on Friday. They don't actually reset the countdown or whatever the fuck you want to call it until fucking countdown. What am I talking about? What I was trying to say is that they don't show the new shit until Wednesday. Like all the new films, bar Thunderbolts, come out on Friday, and they don't show the new stuff that's coming out on Friday until Wednesday. I'm recording this on Tuesday, so I can't check. All I know is, okay, I'm definitely not fucking watching that. The only new things I see here so far is they're playing the original Final Destination, and the new Final Destination is a double bill. I'm not fucking seeing that. And a film called The Wedding Banquet, which I've seen like 5 seconds of the trailer, and 5 seconds of the trailer is all I need to know to figure out the fucking plot. Here we go, right? The fact that it's Bowen Yang, even though this guy's like a literally who, I am aware of him. Like, he is gay. He's the main character of this film, and his parents or grandparents or whatever are coming to visit him, and they don't know he's gay. So he panics, and oh, we need to hide all the gay stuff so that they think I'm straight. That's the film. I picked that up in the first 5 seconds of the trailer. 5 seconds is not an exaggeration at all because I only know of the film because it rarely gets played as an ad on YouTube, and it's a skippable one. So far, it seems like there won't be any next week either, but that could change.